Greetings, Guardians of Dominion. Zeus here, and today we're unlocking the full story behind Krista's rework. On the surface it looks like just a damage boost, but there's far more hiding under the ice. From healing mechanics that twist the flow of battle to explosive ascension skills that punish careless enemies, this is a breakdown you won't want to miss. Today we're diving deep into Krista's potential after her rework, and trust me, there's a lot to unpack. She didn't just get a touch-up, Krista received new ascension skills and a core rework that changes how she interacts with her team and her enemies. If you've ever used Lars and Krista before, you already know they've always been dangerous together. But now, with these changes, Krista feels like she's stepping into a whole new role. Let's break it down carefully, because the details here really matter. The first big change is to Chains of Frost. This skill now reduces enemy magic defense by double the amount it did before. In my case, the reduction sits at around 17,200. That's massive. Think about it, dropping magic defense this hard creates openings for your entire magic squad. Suddenly, every mage on your team is hitting harder, every skill landing with more punch. It makes Krista not just a damage dealer, but a real enabler for the rest of your magic-heavy lineups. Then we have the watermark effect, which was reworked into something much more reliable. Before, Sebastian and other debuff removers could simply clear it away. Not anymore. Watermark is now a special effect that can't be countered by Sebastian or anything similar. That's a game changer, because once it's applied, it sticks. You're guaranteed value from it every time it lands. Add the new ascension skills on top, and watermark becomes the centerpiece of Krista's kit. Speaking of ascensions, let's start with generous watermark. This is where Krista takes a big leap in utility. Whenever a magic hero deals damage to an enemy carrying the watermark, 50% of that damage comes back to the attacker as healing. It's almost like vampirism, but with conditions. The first condition is straightforward, the damage has to be magic. Physical and pure damage won't trigger the healing. In practice, this means Krista thrives in dedicated magic squads, where everyone benefits from that sustain. Now, here's where things get tricky. I tested Krista alongside Augustus, and the results were eye-opening. At first, Augustus looks like a natural partner, strong damage, good synergy with magic teams. But when Augustus converts his magic damage into pure damage, the healing from generous watermark stops. Just like that, the sustain is gone. So, Krista and Augustus don't pair as smoothly as you'd expect. But that doesn't mean you should never run them together. Bad synergy on paper doesn't always translate into failure in practice, it just means you need to understand the trade-offs. We'll see what players discover as more testing is done, but right now, it's something to keep in mind. The second condition for generous watermark is all about timing. After reviewing several battles, I noticed the watermark lasts only 7 seconds. That's your healing window. I tested it with Polaris, thinking her northern lights might extend the duration. But no, the timer stayed fixed at 7 seconds. So, we now know two things: watermark can't be cleansed, and it can't be boosted. It's a guaranteed effect, but only for that short window. The good news is that watermark can be applied through multiple heroes, Krista herself, Lars, and their shared interactions, so in real fights, you'll often see it pop up repeatedly, creating those small bursts of team healing throughout the battle. Now let's talk about crystallization. This is one of the more dramatic parts of Krista's rework. When she's in danger of taking major damage, she summons an ice block around herself for 2 seconds, absorbing 86% of incoming damage. The important detail here is that the trigger isn't just on cooldown, it's based on threat. Krista has to be facing real danger for the block to activate, which makes it both powerful and situational. I ran a lot of tests pairing Krista with Aidan. The synergy is interesting but inconsistent. On the one hand, Aidan increases Krista's health, which can make her harder to burst down in one blow. Against heroes like Ishmael, that means the ice block activates at just the right time to save her. But against steady chip damage, it doesn't always trigger, and sometimes Krista actually blocks more reliably when she isn't paired with Aidan. I had many test battles where I lost without Aidan and then won with him, only to run the same fight again, and see the opposite outcome. It really comes down to how the enemy delivers their damage. So while Aidan can be a strong partner, he isn't a guaranteed answer. And this leads us into her new Ascension skill, Volatile Crystallization. When the ice block ends, it explodes and deals 60,000 damage to nearby enemies. Suddenly, Krista isn't just surviving bursts, she's punishing them. That explosion puts pressure on frontliners and adds real offensive weight to her survivability skill. But here's the catch: if the ice block doesn't trigger often enough, say, because Aidan's extra health makes her too safe, you won't get as much value from the explosion. In some battles, less protection actually means more damage overall, because the skill procs more frequently. That's the balancing act players will have to experiment with. Taking a step back, how do these changes feel overall? In short, Krista is stronger across the board. The reworked Chains of Frost, the guaranteed watermark, the conditional vampirism from generous watermark, the protection from crystallization, and the explosion from volatile crystallization, all of these make her more threatening, and more self-sustaining. On top of that, the new magic penetration skin ties it all together. Before, you had to lean on Orion to provide a huge penetration boost, around 50,000 for the whole battle. Now Krista carries more of that herself, which frees you up to try different team compositions without relying on Orion every time. Still, some problems remain. As I've said before, the main weakness of Lars and Krista isn't their damage, it's Isaac. On offense, they shine. You pick your matchups, go in with control, and shred through enemy lines. But on defense, Isaac continues to be their kryptonite. He shuts down their magic pressure, and the new rework doesn't change that. So, Krista is better than ever, but she's not unstoppable. She's a weapon that you have to wield carefully, picking the right battles and building around her strengths. So to wrap this up, Krista's rework has made her much stronger and more dynamic. Chains of Frost now slices through enemy magic defense harder than ever, Watermark can't be cleansed, and her Ascension skills bring both sustain and extra damage into the mix. Generous Watermark gives your magic team vampiric style healing, while Volatile Crystallization adds that explosive burst when her ice block ends. She's gained a lot of power, but synergy and timing are still key, especially when deciding who to pair her with. Now I want to hear from you. Have you tried Krista after the rework? Did you notice the same synergies and weaknesses I showed, or did you find new combos worth exploring? Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments. I'm curious to see how you're using her in your battles. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss my future Hero Wars guides and updates. Remember, knowledge is what sets the best players apart. Use it, apply it, and dominate your battles. Salute and friendship.